Hey, howdy everybody, how's it going? Welcome back. I got an album request from Max, aka Maxor. If you are in my Discord, you're familiar with him. He's pretty active in there. This album is space themed, which means it's going to be peak. This is Vektor Termial Redux. The art looks insane. I'll pull it up in a second, but the art looks amazing, which makes me really hope that I like this because the art is so cool. I am right now, you know, I don't drink soda a lot. I don't drink it often, maybe once a week at most. I'll have it for like a meal. And it's usually like I'll get McDonald's and they have like a $5 meal deal where you get like soda, McDouble nuggets and fries for $5, which isn't too bad at all. But every like 3 months or so, I really crave Baja Blast. So I'm on my Baja Blast craving kick right now. So I've got some Baja Blast. Yummy, that's the stuff. That'll give you cancer. Look at this album art. Look at how peak this is. It reminds me of Warframe. Actually, it's kind of giving me some Warframe vibes. Now, I haven't played Warframe in a few years, but I remember it being peak. I just remember that I got bored of it after like 100 and some hours, I think. How long did I play Warframe for? Nope, not even 44 hours. Played 44 hours of Warframe and I got bored of it. Fun game though. I felt it was a bit too grindy for my tastes. So, all right. Let's check this out. Termial Redux by Vektor. Hitting play. Released 2016. That was the year I graduated high school. Also, he said this is like thrash prog, so should be a lot of fun stuff like this. This is a lot of fun so far. What is that? Man, thrash stuff is so much fun. Ooh. I'm going to slow headbang for a while because if the whole album is thrash like this, I'm going to get a headache from doing this for an hour and a half. Well, an hour 17? 13. Hour 13. Love the instrumentals here, too. Something. Cygnus Rush reference, just like Parius. Ooh, space noises. Okay, all right. It sounds like we're calming things down a bit. Really fun intro track. It had enough interesting things in the instrumentals to follow that, which made it not quite as boring as I thought it was going to be starting out. Not that I expected it to be boring, but you know, when it's doing like a thrash thing and it kind of just keeps thrashing, it can be a little bit monotonous over time. And I think for an over 9-minute song that was thrash like the whole time, honestly, it wasn't as boring as I thought it was going to be. It was kind of fun. It had enough cool instrumental changes. The vocals had a rhythmic pattern to it that were really cool as well. It was kind of like following this rhythmic sequence and kind of the words themselves weren't rhyming, but like the patterns were rhyming. Like the patterns were repeating themselves and things like that. So that made it fun to follow along as well. This is not going to be something that I'm going to even remotely understand what the lyrics are talking about on a first listen, mainly because I already don't really follow lyrics as it is. And then pulling in something like this, there's a lot of lyrics. I don't know what's going on. I don't know the plot at all after the first track. I have no clue what's happening. This guy went into some void, I think. That's all I know. What is Cygnus? Here, lyrics here, encroaching the Cygnus domain. Well, now we're getting a song called Cygnus Terminal. Anyway, if you like space-related stuff, and you like space-related rock/metal stuff, and you have not heard Rush's masterpiece, Cygnus X1, which is a 2-part song that is a half hour long, the whole thing, then you need to check that out. Part 1 is called The Voyage. I think it's on their album Farewell to Kings. And then part 2 is Hemispheres, which is on their album Hemispheres. And it's incredible. So I'm not gonna spoil anything about there, but that is, I think, my favorite space related music thing that I've ever heard. Is just that. Obviously, everyone loves 2112 because that's like Rush's big album that everyone freaks out about how good it is, and 2112 is good. But there's something about Cygnus X1 that just elevates it above the rest. It is way better than most other Rush songs, and Rush is already great. Rush was like my favorite band when I was growing up, and I got to see them. Luckily, got to see them live twice before Neil Peart died, which was really nice, very cool. They put on a great show, and I think overall, I haven't found anything else space related that can reach those heights of the feeling of listening to Cygnus X1. And then both in the two most, this and Perius, the signal heard throughout space, which are the two most recent space related things that I've heard musically, they've had references to Cygnus, whether like, I think the ship was called something Cygnus in the signal heard throughout space. And then here we're getting a Cygnus mention, which is probably a Rush reference. I heard a lot more Rush influence in Perius's music because they were more like straight up prog with very minimal screaming. And this is more thrash, but also, you know, these people probably grew up listening to Rush, and then as most people did, who were into like rock and metal these days, like they were so influential. And I feel like this might be something that I'm either going to love or hate, depending on how it takes its thrash stuff going forward. For a first track, I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. It flew by, did not feel like 9 minutes, which is a very good sign. I've been recording for 17 minutes already, and it feels like I just started, which I said for something else before recently, and I can't remember what it was. But anyway, whatever. This, I like. I'm a fan so far. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm kind of like, I like where it's going. I like the beginning of it. I like how it starts. Can it keep it interesting for another hour? What's it going to do? And this track already is showing promise because it's starting off a little softer. And a good album, in order to have some interesting things to keep it interesting, for lack of a better word, I keep saying interesting, for an hour and 13 minutes, gotta have some ebb and flow, some little like slow down parts and then speed it back up. And so we'll see how this goes. But I'm cautiously optimistic so far. This is a very good switch up from the first track. Already big fan. I like that harmonic part. Ooh, this is pretty. That's a cool little scream layering thing. Oh. Whew, that's high. Okay, so what I'm gathering, I guess, a little bit from the story. This dude, ISO Subject 5, don't know if that's like he's just one guy on a crew or if it's him by himself or whatever. Go into this void or something, and then something about something Cygnus Terminal, and he comes back and they're like, you've been gone for 13 years, but it's been 2 for him. And he has like some enlightened knowledge or whatever, and they're like, you're insane now, we'll just kill you. That's what I'm gathering, I think. I know I'm oh, yikes. Cool. We'll have to see how I feel about this over time as the album progresses. I have a feeling if it keeps up like this the whole rest of the album, I might not like it as much. But if it has some slower sections, I may like it more. The highs that I'm hearing kind of remind me of, and I'm going to pull it up here. Kind of remind me of here, I'll just play a bit of this, of Cygnus X1, The Voyage. It reminds me of the ending of this, when Geddy Lee has like the highest note that he has ever hit, I think, with Rush, which he cannot do this anymore. I mean, not that they will, because they're retired now, but this was definitely definitely a choice to sing as high. Borderline screaming, and they wrote this in 1977, so keep that in mind. This part right here, I'll play a bit of it. And then it goes to here. Kind of reminds me of that, with the inflection of it, like how high it is. Very interesting. But yeah, gives me that kind of vibe to it, which makes me think that they probably were Rush fans. Also, the fact that they wrote that in the 70s is kind of insane. Like, please go listen to both parts of Cygnus X1. They're so good. My main gripe with this, I think, is just that the songs don't feel unique. They don't feel memorable from each other. Like, they all kind of do the same thing. And there's hints of more stuff, like the beginning of Cygnus Terminal. But ultimately, at least from the first 3 tracks, I mean, we got 6 more full songs after this. It feels kind of samey, and it doesn't have much individual identity in the songs. And so I'm kind of zoning out a little bit. If it was just that for like just the first track, and then it went into like maybe a chill track for a little bit, and then brought it back, and then did some other interesting things, I might like it more. But if it's just this for the whole album, I don't think I'm gonna like this. Now, I will say it's not bad in that I'm listening to it and I'm like, oh my goodness, please shut it off. I can't stand this. It's just, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this is like, it's fun. But I'm not getting much out of it. I'm not getting like the feeling that I'm going to come back to this a bunch and enjoy it a bunch. I at least 3 out of 10 tracks in. I hope it doesn't do this the whole album, is all I'm saying. Maybe the first 3 tracks do this and then it gets interesting later. I don't know, but we'll see. Depends on how the rest of the album plays out. Before it gets really into the song, I should also say that it's not necessarily just the fact that it's kind of the same thing the whole time that makes me dislike it. Not just that. It's more so that I don't really vibe with what it's doing as much. Like, it's not my favorite thing overall. And it's not something I hate. It's not like doing the same thing and I can't stand it and I want to turn it off. Like something like Era or I don't know, other things. It's just something that like I'm very middle of the road on. Like I don't love thrash stuff. I don't hate thrash stuff. It's just like, oh, cool. If it's like used as like a little enhancer to an album, that's cool. If it's the same thing the whole time, I'm going to get a little bit bored. And that's kind of how I'm feeling about this. Because there's albums that I really like that are kind of like the same thing almost the whole time. But it's very interesting because I really like the thing that it's doing. And then there's some things that are the same thing the whole time, but then I don't really like because I don't really like the thing that it's doing, like this. Like that's how I'm kind of feeling with this. So I just wish there was a little bit more ebb and flow, a little bit more storytelling in the music. Again, I'm not even halfway through the album, but I'm just kind of feeling a little bit of fatigue already. So we'll see. All right, it's getting. Sorry, it's getting on my nerves as it continues, and the fact that there's like 25 minutes of this left is starting to hurt me, I think. Yeah, look at this. Earache Records. I'll say so. Gosh, is that too harsh? Sorry. I'm just really like, I'm not liking this more and more as it goes on. I don't know if I can do 25 minutes more of this. This is kind of crazy. I'm just gonna look at memes for the next 25 minutes. This is so stupid. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. Why am I laughing at this? I like this part. This is kind of nice. Whoa, it just got insanely peak. Hold up. Why couldn't they pull this out an hour earlier? I'm roped back in now. So this guy can do cleans. So why'd you wait like 50 minutes almost before you did some? Now this song is great. More of this, please. Keep doing this until the end of the next track, all the way through. Build on this. Don't bring the thrash stuff back, please. We've had enough. Ooh. Man, this is really, really good. Wow. It took almost the whole album, but we finally got a good song. Come on, come on. At least stick the landing here. You got a 13.5-minute outro track. Don't make it boring. Don't do this to me. You can't. This could be the liminal right of thrash albums, where it's like really boring until right at the very end it gets good. Uh-oh, we're not looking good here, boys. Peak? Ooh. This is gorgeous. Ooh. Now this is really good. When they deviate from the thrash stuff, it's amazing. If only they did more of that. Okay. Man, it's such a shame that the last two tracks were genuinely good. Because the 8 before that, well, with the exception of like Mountains Above the Sun, but that's an interlude track, so we don't count that. The 7 tracks before that were so monotonous that like getting there is a struggle. It's kind of the same as like Kardashev Liminal Right, where the ending of it's pretty good. But like getting there is, ooh, it's rough. Kind of the same feelings as that. I think it's a different kind of how do I, well, okay, no, I don't mean this in a negative way, but it's a different kind of bad. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to describe something I'm describing it as bad, but don't take that as a negative way. Which is kind of a wild thing to say, but it's a different kind of bad where it's not like BTBM Colors or Era self-titled bad, where it's the same thing the whole time, and like you want to turn it off and you want to rip your ears out, and like it's a pain to get through. It's kind of like a Death Haven kind of bad, which I'm going to continue calling them Death Haven because it didn't actually click in my brain until like a month or two after I listened to the album that was not their name, but I'm going to continue calling them Death Haven. It feels like a Death Haven kind of bad, where it's like it puts you to sleep because it's boring. And everything kind of all blends together, and it's really hard to pick out individual tracks. Like if you played a section of this album, I would have no clue which song it's from. Even after several listens, I'm pretty sure I would literally never be able to tell you where it's from. It would take me a long time to differentiate the tracks from each other because they're so similar. And it's kind of the same thing with the Death Haven album, Lonely People, where like the whole album is just so similar until you get to the last track on that one. Again, the ending, pretty good. The last track on that Death Haven album, the last track on Lonely People, pretty good. But it's such a slog getting there, and I don't listen to individual songs. I listen to albums. So it doesn't matter if like the ending to an album is good, if the rest of it is boring, I'm not going to come back to it. And this is kind of the same thing, where like the ending was pretty good. That last song by itself, without the other ones, the thrash stuff was cool. It had like a cool build up to the ending and a really nice flow throughout the song. And then Collapse was just the best song. Way better than all the other tracks on this album. It's kind of insane. I wish they had way more ebb and flow and way more interesting things throughout the album. Take what they did in Collapse and put like bits and pieces of that in the other songs, this would be so much more listenable. Take things like not even just making it slower, but just adding some cleans, adding some different sections. That's not just the same thrash things of like for 50 minutes straight before you finally get some reprieve from that. Just something a little bit different would have been nice for all these tracks. I think I'm going to rank it similarly to Lonely People. At least I think. I don't even remember what I ranked Lonely People, but I don't think I gave that album dog water. But because the ending saves it, because the last 2 tracks are genuinely good tracks, I'm gonna rank this not for me. So it is not for me. Not dog water. If these tracks have been bad, it would be dog water, but it's saved by virtue of these tracks being actually good. Would I listen to this again to get to those last tracks? No. I'm not gonna listen to this again. Sorry, Max. For people who enjoy this and who like thrash, I'm sure this is great. Again, there's things that I love and albums that kind of do the same thing throughout an entire album, but because I like the single thing that it does, I enjoy the album. For this, I don't like the single thing that it does, so I don't like the album. And ultimately it comes down to preference. It's not necessarily the repetition, it's what it is repeating. Does that make sense? So I don't hate the fact that it repeats stuff, because people are probably like, oh, but you like Caligula's Horse, and that's the same thing over and over again. Yeah, but I like it. And this I don't. So, all right, those are my thoughts. If you want something good, Cygnus related, again, go listen to Rush, Cygnus X1, banger, 2 tracks. One's 10 minutes, one's 20, or like one's like, I think the first one's 10, and then the next one's 18, so almost a half hour total. Incredible little story there. Please, like, also follow the lyrics, because the lyrics are great. And the way that it like builds to the ending is so good. The musical motifs in there, like, oh man, amazing. All right, those are my thoughts. Thanks for watching. Thanks again to Max for recommending this. Sorry I didn't like it, but I'm honest. So a lot of people take me disliking an album recommendation of theirs to mean that I dislike you as a person. I know Max isn't that kind of person, and he won't take this personally. But there's going to be a lot of Common Core L plus homeschool plus mid plus a lot of that in my Discord after this, I can tell. All right. Love you guys. See you later. Bye-bye.